Hello, everybody. Good morning. I guess it's morning for you too. I really appreciate our commitment to this path and showing up here together. And I hope you can hear me well. Maybe you can give me a short notice about this. Thank you, George. Yeah. My name is Nirmala. I'm based in the north of Germany. I'm living here in a big eco-village, and I came across the Buddhist path 28 years ago while traveling through Asia, and it changed my whole life, and it's still changing and still developing and unfolding. I stayed several years in Sri Lanka and India practicing Buddhist meditation and was committed to a really kind of strict practice with like 16 hours a day. And then after a few years in Asia, I came across a way of meditation in a Thai monastery in Bodh Gaya. I met Jaya Ashmore and Gemma Polo. They were teaching together with Martin and with Christopher, a retreat with a lot of people, I think more than 100 people, as I remember well. And in a Buddhist meditation center, all people are sitting, and it was a really narrow and close and tough practice. I've been there, I think, almost 20 days. And then at one day, Jaya, she started the guided meditation, and she was saying, lay down, you can lay down if you want. And for me, that was like a major shift in my practice to really allow me that this can be a path which is, in a way, like physically at least, much more easy than I had thought it had been. And I was doing a bit of like research about it, and I discovered that and this was like 20 years back maybe, that a lot of people in Asia who follow like a really strict practice, like have a very, very difficult time with it. And that, like, I heard from people, and there were not just a few, like it seemed to happen more or less regularly, that after some really intense courses where you meet the teacher every day and the teacher is asking you, hey, how is your practice doing? Is it progressing? And in which state are you in? There are like 16 stages to enlightenment in this practice of Mahasi Sayadaw. And it was like a pushing. They told me you can only go out of the center if you reach Nibbana. That's what they literally, or the teacher, the monk, literally said to me. And that's what you had to subscribe to at the beginning and make your signature for. And I didn't reach Nibbana, and I didn't come all 16 stages. And I was really desperate because I do come, as most of us, from a culture which is like giving themselves a hard time anyway if we are not good enough. The feeling of not good enough is very spread out in our culture. So I say this because I just want to speak out this invitation again and again to really find out your own way into the practice, new maybe from time to times. I find the story of the Buddha like really inspiring when he left his teachers, and he had learned so much from the teachers he was with, and he could probably have been like a really famous meditation teacher, maybe the best one. He reached deep stages, and still he thought, okay, I want to really know how deep freedom is possible, and this path of my teachers is not serving me. And he found the path while sitting alone under a tree. So it came like naturally out himself. So the invitation is for all of us to look, what is my own inner nature, my own inner truth? The Buddha nature is already within us. What do I need that it really can rise up? Yeah. So welcome again, all of you. Like, more people came in. It's really wonderful to be here with you. If you're here the first time, then you can, we have this 15 minutes talk at the beginning of each session, and then half an hour guided meditation, and then another 15 minutes for question and answers. And you can type your question in the type a message field and make it in capital letters, question, so I can see it. Yeah, and also, like, today I like to talk about dana at the beginning, even though I haven't shared the practice yet with you, just so I don't want to forget it. And since I was just teaching a 5-day silent retreat, and the thought came up into me, wow, dana is in danger. And it's such an amazing thing that we can meet here together and share the teachings, and not only in front of the screen, but also like when we go on retreat, and that these teachings are freely offered. And yet there is a lot of effort involved in it. Like, I've had so many conversations with George and meetings with him before the weeks I'm teaching here. And so this is not for free. The platform has a lot of cost. So the invitation is, if you can support in any way, to support financially to this platform. And yeah, it's also a big part of my income, like the biggest part, the teachings on dana, actually. And I post the link here for how you can make dana. I wanted to pin it to the top, but it's not possible. So the topic for this week is mindfulness of the nervous system. I'm leading a school for yoga, meditation, and embodiment, and I realized that lots of people come to the practice with a really activated nervous system, like really from a sense of sometimes desperation, or sometimes it's just a really subtle pulling and pushing away in life, unsatisfactory. And like, the first thing which is really needed if we go into a meditation practice is to soothe our nervous system. And the Buddha talked about this in the Satipatthana Sutra, the 4 foundations of mindfulness. The first foundation, and the biggest, like the longest one, which he describes longest, is the mindfulness of the body. And part of our body is our nervous system. So this is the path, the foundations of mindfulness, part of the path which he offered when he realized what he realized, when he awoke to this fundamental truth that everything is just, and we know this, I guess you all know that, you're here, everything is so impermanent. There's literally nothing we can hold on. There's nothing we can hold on. And he pointed out that there is no fixed identity, and that there is suffering. And in order to understand these truths, like on a cellular level, it's really worth to look into the nervous system. This is what we are in the world with our nervous system, and this is what it's called autonomic nervous system. So it regulates the stem brain. I think the English word is like the oldest evolutionary part of the brain is controlling our breath, is controlling our blood pressure, our heartbeat. So it's autonomous. This is the English word, I think. And yet, like, how can that go together with our practice, with our mindfulness? So I will go, like today, I just want to give an overview of this week. And one thing we will do is like to look a bit deeper into the nervous system, what is happening there. And the invitation is that you really take this week for your practice in daily life. And I really mean being in close contact with your nervous system in a really basic way. Just realizing, are you in a relaxed state? Like, how is your breath going? How is the tension in the shoulder? Is it strong? Is it more soft? And just how do you engage with people? Is it easy to look in other people's faces? Do you like move freely around? Is it a really deep, relaxed state, which like coming down, or like an activated, relaxed state of joy and being in contact with other people? Or am I activated in a way that there is anger or fear, anxiety, irritation? And this is nothing like bad, even not for the nervous system. It's like so normal that we go into these waves. I will go deeper into that just for now to really have like a soft practice this week, and mostly not in front of the screen, because it is in a way so easy to sit on our cushion, to listen to the teachings, to practice like with yourself and realize all kinds of states. And then you come back to your partner who probably triggers you for some reason, or you come to a friend or somebody at work you're close with. And then the practice is like, it's kind of away from us. It's not accessible for us anymore. So what is happening there? So all these states are normal. Also realize when you're in a very activated state, in sense of like maybe even a feeling of being frozen, not functioning well anymore, automatic pilot. And while you're listening to all this, like have a sense of leaning back so that you can just really be in a soft way with your nervous system during this week. It's really an invitation. We can feel it more out in the world, our nervous system, like it's more triggered, it's more fluid maybe. Yeah. So, and my last week I was teaching on Sangha Live. I was the longing for belonging was the theme of the week, I think. And I was talking of our need to belonging. So there's a whole week of recordings about this topic. And I just want to come back to the importance for us humans to really feel we belong. And while I was talking earlier about allowing all our parts to belong to ourselves, what is our practice to be gentle with what everything is rising up, like I just want to mention that like it's really really lots of stress that has been in the past really existential threatening for us if we have been excluded from a group of people. Like if we have been excluded from our tribe, we couldn't have survived that on ourselves. So our nervous system is constantly checking if we are safe. It has been doing it over millions of years. It has like ensure our survival, that we can be here now today. And I will talk about different types of or different ways to go into a relationship, and we have two main patterns there, like some of us, and I guess that among all of us here now this morning in Sangha Life, the type of person who is more an avoidance type in relationship, avoiding relationship, is bigger. Like that we are more of us here are the type of person who probably feel safe and good when I'm by myself and I'm on my cushion. It's easy to go into a meditation retreat. You can put myself sometimes literally in the desert or in the wild in nature, and we feel happy and safe. And then when it's really about intimacy and closeness, it's threatening. It's sometimes hardly possible or not possible at all for some of us. And we all have this longing to really connect, to meet each other with love, with patience, with compassion, to look in each other's eyes. I will talk about how we humans co-regulate our nervous systems. We go into this. And this other type of person we have in relationship, and you can also be a mix out of both, right? Are people who are not very much connected to their own needs and who don't dare to stand up for themselves and more find themselves merging into relationships, merging in other people. They love being among others. And both ways, and that's why it's important to be aware of that, are ways to avoid your own emotions and feelings. Both the ways can be ways of avoiding. There's also like a resource, of course, in being alone. It's a great resource. It's important. And it's a great resource if you have lots of people to connect with. And we want to be able to be in a deep, settled, embodied presence and love and connection among people and not lose ourselves there and not hide ourselves from friendships. Yeah. So we look into all this more during the next days. I'm looking forward to spend this week with you. And we look more into the first foundation of mindfulness. I can share some trauma-informed background knowledge and deep understanding of our inherent patterns and relationships. And we explore ways of co-regulation and understand what co-regulation is. And the meditations I'm offering, they're hopefully supporting yourself to soothe your nervous system. And we go into meditation now. So the invitation is always to find a position which is like really supporting you, and a position where you not think you should be in this position, but where you feel now your body really wants to be in. Yeah. Mm. So, and before you close your eyes, and if you have closed them already, the invitation is to move your eyes around in the room where you're in. And just feel the reaction in the body when you're moving your eyes around. And only the eyes, the rest of the body could be still. What impact does that have on your body, moving your eyes? And then I invite you to look behind you, like to literally turn your head and look what's behind you. And also in the upper world behind you, to your left and to your right. Both sides, really checking what's there. And then really check what is above. And what is below. Really moving your head while you're doing this. Seeing what is around. Being aware of what is around. And then also the whole space in front of you. And then if you kind of checked your environment, you are invited to close your eyes, and you can also leave them open. Just what kind of helps you to get your nervous system a bit more into a parasympathetical state, in a relaxed state. If you have the sense that your system is agitated, you could help with your own nourishing hands to soothe it down a bit. And one way to do this could be to put your fingertips below the collarbones to really press them in here. Or to have one hand on your chest and one hand in your neck. Or one hand on your chest and one hand on your forehead. Or having your hands wherever they want to go and really keep them there. It takes time for the correspondence between hands and other tissue there. Maybe you want to take a few deep breaths at the beginning. And one way to come down is to make the exhalation longer. And maybe you find it supportive to also check the environment, the direct environment with your hands. Like checking the ground you're on, the cushion, the texture of your clothes, of the blanket. Maybe you can find a texture which is kind of supports the soothing down. A texture where the system is kind of feels an invitation to sink, to rest a bit more. And if your eyes are open, and at any time in between, if you want to open your eyes, you could rest them on something in your environment which feels supportive to rest them there. Maybe there's a sky or a tree or a flower or a statue or a picture or a certain color. And if there's like a juiciness for you there to find, you can also check the sounds in your environment and do this in a very relaxing way, in a non-demanding way, an easy way to just listen to sounds. Just listen to sounds. And you're invited at any time to stay there where you discover some aliveness or juiciness or expansion, something new maybe for you, where you have the sense of there's a way. A sense of So maybe just staying with long exhalations and now allowing the whole system to rest at the end of the exhalation before the inhalation. And if it does feel okay, safe enough to be with the body, then you could bring your hands to your head and just touch your face. And if being with the body at this very moment is not appropriate for you, you could bring your hands into the space around the body, or just keep listening to sounds as two examples. And if hands are on the head, just really feeling the form of the head. Maybe they land somewhere that feels there could be a way to think a bit deeper in this very moment. And the hands could start exploring the neck and the throat and the shoulders. And maybe it's even supportive to bring micro movements into the shoulders or into the fingers even, just micro movements, just if that's a way for you. So hands could explore shoulders, arms, and give you there like a holding. Hands, fingers. Or moving those parts of your body. And sighing and yawning are so super welcome and helpful. And what about the chest? Maybe bringing your hands on the chest could feel nourishing to bring your fingers in the deep tissue between your ribs. Maybe moving the ribs, moving the shoulder blades, the upper back in micro movements. If you're laying on the floor, it could be like super yummy to push your shoulder blades a bit into the floor as if you're moving into sand on the earth. And it can also be yummy while being sitting or standing to move the shoulder blades and maybe move the lower back and the belly. And you could also like combine hands on the belly and moving your organs into your hands, like getting in contact with this juicy, watering, fluid energy of organs, tissue. And those movements, that can really be micro movements if you want to allow them. And notice every time there is maybe a deeper exhalation or sighing. If you're sitting, you could literally press like your pelvis and the legs into the floor with your hands, like really feeling the being hold of your legs between hands and floor. Just feeling how is the tissue responding when you're bringing your hands on your upper legs. Maybe still being with the pelvis, the pubic floor, the tailbone. Pubic bones, upper legs, knees. And making contact with your lower legs, the feet, the toes, the space between the toes. Allowing your whole system to sink. Allowing tissue to sink. Maybe even a bit more in your forehead, in your shoulders, in your jaw. Into the earth. And just finding out for yourself where is a pathway, where is the possibility for openness, for widening, for juiciness, for contact at this very moment, using one or more of the tools I offered here, being in silence with whatever is, also with the parts which are noisy, and allowing also tissue to sink and allowing tissue to not sink. Both is allowed to be here. And then gently in your own time, maybe start moving your eyes again through the space around you. Gently moving your fingers and your toes. Moving your organs through moving your upper body. Just doing what feels really good at this very moment for your system, for your body. So actually this movement of the eyes and the head, this is a movement which is like so inherent in our system. Like it's evolutionary, been there for millions of years to ensure our surviving, right? And people in nature, they needed to be safe of their environment. So this movement has a direct impact on the vagus nerve, like which is a nerve in our body, which is really important for our regulation. So this is something you can do really in, I mean, this practice is so simple and basic, and it doesn't mean that it's easy. And the invitation over this week is really like whenever, and this happens several times a day, like it's all between activating and relaxation. It's waves going through us, and this is so natural as our heartbeat is natural, as contraction and expansion in our body, in our tissue is natural. Like we are the heartbeat, the lungs, all is like opening and closing, opening and closing. So it's the same with the nervous system. And like one proposal would be to realize whenever there is a higher activation, where it's not like joy anymore or being in good contact with people, but some minor triggers, to feel at the same time where there is something which is soothing, like moving your head, for example, could be one thing, moving your eyes, feeling the body on the floor. And it's really a shift for us if we are like feeling both at the same time. Yeah. So this is something you could explore with. And I sometimes smiling into myself when I realize how automatically my system is checking if I'm safe. Like I've been in the sauna of our community like a few weeks ago, and it's a really basic self-made sauna, and it's really like earth made somehow. And I was sitting in there, going in there, and it's dark and it's small and it's narrow. And my first question was, do we have like a I don't know the English word, like a fire extinction thing, like the one of these red things where you can press a button and then you get something out which stops a fire going. You know what I mean? And that was my first question, and I needed to smile. I was like, oh, wow, thank you to my system. It's like so automatically checking like my safety, like what do I need? And it can be so simple sometimes. Yeah. And I wonder if you have any questions. Thank you, Ruth, for your comment, and Harry. Questions about anything I touched on today? Roger is saying, thank you very much. Your invitation to let the eyes go where they want to go reminds me of organic intelligence. Yeah, that's what it is. It also reminds me, that meditation is not necessarily always about bringing the attention inside, right? It's also in the Satipatthana Sutta very clearly mentioned. It's about being aware in the body and out of the body. Bringing the attention outside using the orientation architecture of neck, head, eyes is so helpful to allow the nervous system to be here now. Yeah. 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 That's how it is. And so easy. And like Nicholas is saying, blessings to everyone's nervous system. And it's a new way to relate to the world and to be in the world if we are aware that there are just nervous systems everywhere and that they function autonomic, like they check, everybody of us has a system inside which is continuously checking, am I safe, if I'm not safe? And it's different, like relating also what is our background. It's different for all of us. And yeah, it also takes away a sense of blaming others. Like we do this so much, blaming and judging. This is how we separate us from ourselves, like, oh, I have pain, it's uncomfortable, so there must be something wrong with me. And then the story goes, I should be different and I should be like her or like him, like them. Gwen, you say the touching of the body really deepened the meditation at the start, but mind got busy again later. Yeah, this is what our mind is doing. And can there be a way for your meditation practice where mind is no problem, and really no problem at all? Where it's about what I said earlier, feeling the things at the same time. Like, okay, mind is super active, and we can always bring the question here, and what else is there? What else is there? And there's always the floor, and there's always the tissue and sounds. And we have the idea meditation is more helpful if the mind is still. And do we really, really know? Just to question that, like how and like what can we learn and discover in the states where there is mind movement, it's doing its thing, and at the same time, and being curious with that and open. It's a really interesting field to explore. Thank you, Gwen. That's a question from Laura. Thank you for saying we feel our nervous system more when we are outside. I feel calm when meditating alone, and as soon as I'm with others, I feel all my energy go outside. How can I remain inside better when I'm outside with others? Thank you so much for this question. This is exactly what this week is about. Because I realize that for a lot of us, it's easy to be on the cushion and be calm. Like I'm doing the teaching and somatic experience and experiencing. I already have a body focused therapy teaching, like since training done 10 years ago, and I'm working with that. And now I'm with the trauma therapy at the moment. So I go there coming from a retreat, being really calm, really being really rooted, and I come into a new group of people, 30 people who do the same training as I, and 10 people who hold the space, like teachers. So 40 people in a room. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I can teach a retreat with 100 people and just speaking there in the front and feeling so safe and comfortable with myself and with the group. And then I'm part of the group and invited to interact with people, and everything goes like, oh my God, how am I doing this? And my system has a tendency to freeze and has the tendency to act out and to not kind of feel myself anymore, but be in contact. And it's like lost sometimes. So yeah, what is a way to bring us inside? And first thing is to recognize and to recognize also there, okay, and what is the feeling of stability at this very moment. And sometimes it's really a holding on to a straw, we say in Germany, like, okay, and there is the breath. Okay, and there is the ground, the floor, and literally touching it with my body. And this sounds so simple, and it is simple, and it is the path to get the, how you say in English, simultaneously, the feeling of, okay, and there's also the tree outside and the sky, and I do feel the trembling in my shoulders, and I do feel the head going with the questions, or am I able to respond to your question, Laura, in a good way? And it's there at the same time. It's a bit shaky feeling in my shoulders and in my chest. And then from there, I feel a big breath coming. And that's when something gets deeper. That's when, because our reaction to people is conditioned to the way how we grew up, is conditioned to what we experienced in our childhood. So it's nothing wrong with us, and it's just like so normal, and we can release the holding of our system, which it has been done, and it has been done in a very good and very proper way to have us here where we are now. And it will let go of this holding very slowly and very tender, that we not even feel it immediately. And a way of letting go is to go into this simultaneously of feeling the stress in your system while being with others, and that doesn't mean that immediately the stress will go away. And it means that your system is also allowed to enter a different state, maybe very, very slowly, very subtle. Just this bird. Just this taste of chocolate in the mouth. Okay, just my hand on the table, really simple. And it was really like, I don't know if some of you maybe could see it, how at this very moment, while I was going myself into this simultaneously feeling of more like stress and anxiety, like tiny feeling of anxiety in my shoulders and chest, same time having the sky there and the tree, and then this big breath is coming. And this is already taking something of tension out of our system. And this is a part of our path, if we work with the nervous system. Yeah. Yeah, thank you all so much. It's 9 o'clock. I'm really happy we shared this week together. Thank you all so much for joining. Go smoothly with it during your day, and I'm happy if we meet each other for more embodied and regulating practices tomorrow. Have a good day.